Hello and welcome to another episode of Raw Chatter. I am your host, speaking, Vicky Midwood, behavioural strategist and integrative health consultant. And I'm here today to talk to you about why you're not addicted to the habit, but you're attached to who it lets you be. Now, this is where we've got to help ourselves to recognise that you don't keep on doing the eating or the drinking or the overworking or the people pleasing or the scrolling because you lack discipline. You keep doing it because it fits the identity that you have built your life around. And yes, we do build our own lives around our beliefs and our habits. And until that changes, then nothing that you try in terms of a quick fix or jumping on the next trend is going to stick. So for those of you who haven't listened before, welcome to Raw Chatter. This is where I want to speak openly and honestly about addiction, about behavior, about reinvention, about the stuff that perhaps you feel too embarrassed or too ashamed to talk about with people unless they're super, super close and you know that they're going to understand you. And even then, sometimes we're not always 100% honest because we're worried about how we're going to come across or what they will think. A lot of the time, when we know we are engaging in behaviors on a regular basis that we are not proud of, and we definitely don't want other people to know. And often, we don't even want to admit it to ourselves. Now, last week's episode, I talked about why understanding your habits just isn't enough. And today I want to kind of go into this missing piece of why you will still keep on going back, even though you might understand why you're doing it, the root cause, where it's come from, etc. And this is not about you knowing more. It's not about willpower or more discipline, and it's not about being better this time. We've got to remember that our habits are our solution. And I covered this last week. It's about what the habit is actually doing for you. And as I shared last week, none of you are stupid. None of you set out to become addicted or compelled to do something, right? And if it wasn't doing something for you, you wouldn't keep on doing it, right? We know for sure that food is used for comfort. It's used to help us to switch off. It's definitely used as a reward. It's used to cheer us up. It's used to celebrate. Alcohol, right? We use it to switch off, to relax, to wind down, to sometimes gee up our confidence just before a night out. It gives us a sense of relief. Overworking, what does that give you? Well, it definitely gives you a sense of worth. Self-worth and overwork, they've been linked together since we were tiny. What else does it do? It gives us a sense of feeling in control. If I just work harder, right, I've got this, I'll be more in charge. It also allows us to avoid things, right? If we're overworking and staying late in the office, it allows us to avoid what is going on back at home. If we're shutting ourselves away because work is the reason, it means that we don't have to get involved in proper real life stuff. And how about scrolling? Well, scrolling on our phone now, obviously I'm old enough before phones were a thing, but scrolling absolutely does work, right? It gives us a boost, right? It makes us feel good. Okay, it also provides an amazing distraction, and it really works. How many of you, hands up, have been onto social media for a quick scroll and suddenly you've lost 2 hours of your life? It lets you escape. It can numb you out because you just get lost in the thing that you're watching, which means that you're not having to think about anything else. And this is the key. This stuff works, right? It absolutely does. And as I said, we're not daft. We won't keep doing it if it didn't work. But this is where I want you to really listen, because it's going to sound totally contradictory. You're not actually addicted to the thing, even though it feels that way. You are attached to the version of you that exists when you do it. See, let me help you understand that a little bit better. The drink isn't the problem. It's who you get to be whilst you're drinking. Are you funnier? Are you more relaxed? Do you feel more confident? Right? Are you able to feel like yourself? Food seems to be the problem, but actually it's what it shuts down. It's what you can blot out whilst you're eating, whilst you're actually fully engaged in that activity. When you're focusing on the food, you don't have to be thinking about anything else. It shuts down emotions and it works really, really well. It helps you to feel more comfortable if you're agitated. It's soothing. It's calming. And that is the person that you become when you utilize it. Same for busyness, right? If we just always go, overworking, right? Never stopping for a moment, it helps you to avoid stuff. Now, this is where we've got to help ourselves to recognize that this is programming. This is stuff that we saw, right? We learn more from what we actually see are going on around us, from what we notice and observe in others, than what we actually told. Right? A lot of what we're told, we don't really necessarily take it in. And I'm sure you're all nodding away, right? As a kid, if you were told something over and over again, you almost kind of got deaf to it, but what you saw, that went in. So if you saw people around you turning to wine or food when they were stressed out to reward themselves, to relax, then chances are you're going to do the same thing. If they use these things to suppress emotions, to literally stuff their mouth so that they wouldn't get angry or say something that they may regret later, or if you saw food or drink or anything going online, shopping, gambling, as a way of soothing or suppressing, then chances are you do the same. Maybe food was offered to you as love. Maybe you got the message that things had to be earned through effort or through being good. And so this perfectionism, this idea that you had to show up, not as the person that you truly are, but as the person you thought you were expected to be. And so you learn a pattern of behavior. And if being good meant overriding your body signals, well, guess what? That's what you learned to do. That's definitely one of the things that I did. I definitely pushed through feeling overfull because I knew that there would be praise and I would somehow be noticed for being good if I ate everything on my plate. Or maybe you learned that conflict was something that you had to avoid at all costs. And so when we see these patterns playing out, not just once, not just twice, but consistently, multiple times, and not necessarily in our immediate family, but maybe in other families, maybe in films that we watch as well, maybe on TV shows, then we take this in. And we don't necessarily know that that is what we're doing, but that then becomes our default programming, which means now that we're not necessarily doing these things because we've made the decision to. It is not conscious. It's a default pattern. And this is why, if you suddenly try to remove that behavior without recognizing that it is part of your default programming and that you are being a certain person when you do this stuff, it's going to feel ridiculously hard. And even though every part of you is going, but I really don't want to do it anymore, I really want to stop, you're going to struggle. And it's going to feel like you're waging a battle or a war within yourself. And this is where I often see things like fighting the addiction, fighting food. But the more you fight, the longer it's going to stick around. You've rehearsed these behaviors, you've practiced them, you have repeated themselves, not just a few times, not just a few hundred times, or even a few thousand times, but probably over decades, like me, millions of times. They're automatic, they're fast, and they're efficient. And this is exactly why just stop doing it, which is what I heard so many times, doesn't work, because your nervous system is going to go, but this is what we do. This is what we do. This is how we cope. This is how we manage these situations. And this is where we've got to recognize that change does not begin with stopping the habit. Change begins when you interrupt the moment that you'd normally become that version of you. The version of you that needs the drink, the version that you says, sod it, tomorrow's another day. The version of you that wants to check out, the version of you that wants to numb yourself, that wants to just switch off completely. And that's what we've got to try and help you to recognize. You need to do it in real time. Now, what I want all of us listening to really remember is that this is nothing to do with being weak or with being disciplined. If you try to do this stuff on your own and you keep going back, it's because you don't necessarily recognize that this is your programming and this is your identity. If you're trying to remove behavior without understanding the identity behind it, of course it's going to feel hard. We've got to remind ourselves that we need to change who we are being if we want to change how we are showing up and how we are living. We also have to help ourselves to recognize that the people that we surround ourselves with make a massive difference to whether or not it's easier or more challenging for us to change our identity and to actually be the person that we want to be, not the person that we think we have to be. And that's key, because I genuinely believe that I had to be a certain way to present a certain image because I wanted people to think of me this way. And it was a powerful and a not very easy lesson for me to take on board, that I don't know what people think of me. Unless I outright ask them, I don't know. I'm making an assumption that people think in the same way that I think. And that is a terrible thing to do, is to assume that you know how other people are thinking. We don't, right? And it can get us into all kinds of difficult situations and confusing and often contradictory and conflicting conversations. And if you're anything like me, an extra sensitive person, the last thing any of us want is conflict, which is why we learnt to be the good girl. We learnt to stuff down our feelings. We learnt to not say what we wanted to say. And because we weren't doing that stuff, we needed something, whether it's smoking, whether it's caffeine, whether it's food, whether it's scrolling on your phone, whether it is online gambling or shopping, whatever it is, that thing is giving you something. And it's continuing to give you something that keeps you stuck in the identity that you currently are. Now, when you surround yourself with people who actually want the same thing as you, who are also recognizing that as they don't want to keep on doing this stuff. They know that it's causing them health issues. They know that their energy is not what it should be. Their focus is getting worse. Maybe you are thinking that you've got Alzheimer's or you're getting dementia because your memory's not good. And actually, it's possibly because of the habits that you are repeating on a daily basis. And if you know that you are sick of trying and failing, and you want to do something in a way that you've not done it before, with a small group of people who are on the same page as you, then this is exactly what I'm going to be working on. A monthly group where in real time, we can change your patterns. There's no fluff. There's no bullshit, because what I need you all to recognize is that change isn't about theory. Change isn't about understanding. Change isn't about a written plan. Change is about actually real life when it happens. And that is what I'm offering. So if you are interested, then book a call with me. My information, my details are in the description and in the show notes. I want you to really hear this. Even though it feels like you're addicted to the habit, you're not. But you are attached to who it's letting you be. And if you change who you are being, you will no longer need the habit. Now, that's exactly what happened to my client, and I'm not going to name her, who believed that she needed to drink to cope. And when she recognized that she could change who she was being and how she was showing up, and now she no longer needs it, it doesn't even cross her mind. And it can happen really quickly, and it can happen with you. I've done it. She's doing it. These are people just like you, other human beings. We're not special. We're not different. We're just people who recognize that we have created a life, a pattern, a habit, a way of showing up, an identity that includes these behaviors that we no longer want. And you're not going to change that just by changing the behavior. But what I can tell you is it doesn't have to be as hard as you think it is, or maybe it has been in the past because you've been starting in the wrong place for you. So if you think that you are actually in the right place to make some changes, then please don't put it off, because what I can tell you is you'll never, ever not feel scared about doing this stuff. And actually, there'll be something weird or strange if you weren't scared, because it's unfamiliar. And we know that humans don't like uncertainty, and they do not like anything that is unknown. But what we also know is through repetition, through understanding, through being helped and supported, by treating yourself with compassion, by getting to know how your body and your brain works, this stuff can become very familiar, and you can be very certain of your outcome much, much faster than you think. Please do get in touch, because my mission is to help you stop struggling secretly and silently when you really don't have to. And I'm going to leave you with this, as I always do. We only have one life as far as we know, and one body. So please look after it, because it is looking after you. Until next time, take care of yourself. Bye-bye.